The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. My name is Rocio Lenas Monreal. I am the programming manager here at SAGNY, one of your Northeast Regional Associations. Thank you all so very much for joining us on this Thursday afternoon. Today we have Andy Evans from Sage, who will be showing us a few new features and new websites for Sage 12.5. Andy, thank you so much for joining us as well. I'm going to hand everything over to you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everybody. Rosa's going to be able to take some of your questions. So if you see on your screen the chat box, go ahead and ask any questions that you like through that chat feature. And she can interrupt me at any time. And then I will leave 5 to 10 minutes at the end of this training to answer some more questions for you guys. But we did recently just roll out the new version of Sage 12.5. For those of you already using Sage, you should have got an update on your screen that said there's a new version. So if you haven't clicked it yet, go ahead. It's a free upgrade as always, and it's going to bring in some added new features to Sage. I'm going to kind of go through a couple of those new features in the first part of this training, and then we'll dive into the brand new websites we came out with as well. And hopefully if you see something or you need me to repeat something, don't hesitate to write in that chat for me to dig in a little bit deeper. But we understand everybody's a creature of habit. Some of you use Sage to its fullest, but the majority of you may only use it in limited fashion, to what gets it done for you as easy as possible. But this is the dashboard of Sage. It's still pretty much the same. You will see some of the different changes that we've had, but mainly it's going to be the alert section over here and then recent activity over here. Now, when you're doing this recent activity is a huge feature. We got a lot of requests for this because you can click the filter option over here on the dashboard. So if you're needing to look at any of your recent product searches or supplier searches or recent presentations, you can choose that and even pick a date range. But this also gives access to the Sage CRM tool. Keep in mind that if you are not currently using the Sage CRM tool, contact your sales rep at Sage. We'll get you the format that you can put your clients into, and we will even one time upload all of your contacts into the CRM tool for you. That way you have access to them when you're doing presentations and any of the other features that we have. But it would pull all this up as well, so you could pull up all the recent searches, presentations you've done for any specific client. One new major added feature over here on the left-hand side, we now have a decorator search. This was another huge request we had from a lot of distributors of people needing to find decorating services and who they may be. And you'll be able to go in here and choose what decorating service you're looking for, even be able to type in a city or location so you can find someone not only maybe near you and your location, but maybe closer to where your client may be. If you're in the Northeast and your client's going to be, say, in Fort Lauderdale, Florida for a retreat, maybe you need to have a decorator closer to them so that it can be shipped directly to the clients from Florida rather than doing it all the way up north and sending it down there. Anybody that you have, if you have specific minority-owned or women-owned, we have these also filter options as well if you're looking for a very specific type of decorator. But this is a new feature, so take advantage of the decorator search. A lot of people really, really enjoy that. But let's go ahead and dive in to the product search feature. Where you're going to spend the majority of your time. A lot of this is going to look exactly the same. We did change some of the shapes and looks of the supplier criteria down here to make it easier to view, and there's not so much information on top of each other. To add a supplier now, you can just click the little plus sign and be able to go type in the same way, company line name, and go add that in there if you're looking for a specific type of supplier. So it still works exactly the same. And then another little feature that I've realized a lot of distributors don't use is this location option. This will also, kind of my example of maybe someone's in Fort Lauderdale, you could type in the word Florida, it will only pull up manufacturers in that area. You can even be a little more broad and type in something like the southeastern United States, and then it would only search suppliers in that located area as well. So keep that in mind for shipping purposes, turnaround time. That's also a good feature that you could look at when you're doing a product search. Also down here, we have added an officially licensed option in the other filter options. We've been getting a lot of requests, people asking about, well, I need to know if they're NCAA licensed or if they're NFL or NBA or whatever it may be and licensed by those certain types of sports and industries. You can go ahead and check off that box and it will only pull up the suppliers that are licensed and able to resell that to you, which has been a huge request for a lot of companies as well. But what I'd like to do is let's go ahead and kind of dive into a product search. A lot of this is still going to work exactly like it has in the past. Let's just do an example of maybe you have a golf tournament or something showing up and you want to be able to get your brand out there for that golf tournament. You could do something as easy as, like, say, doormats. Have your logo on the doormats going in and outside the clubhouse, maybe even have doormats going in to the golf carts that they're going to be getting into. You will see you can just type in something as simple as this, price range and quantity. You do have the 3 dimensions level. One trick I always tell my customers is leave the measurement as any. I know we have the length and the width and the heights and the distance and diameter measurements, but just because you may think something is the height of an item, that may not be what the supplier is saying is the height of the item. And if you leave the measurement as any, it's going to give you a much more broad search and gives you better search results. Also, leaving this checkbox at approximate is also a huge thing to make sure you do, unless you need something to be exact. Because when you do approximate, that's going to deviate that measurement 10% above and below the required measurement. So if you type in you need something 10 inches, it's going to do a search for everything 9 to 11 inches, just so it helps you out with that type of search. Also down here, remember we do have the method. You can choose if you want to, if you need something to be printed in a certain method, it will only pull up manufacturers that do that. And then you have the different types of made in, assembled in, and decorated in areas. So if you want something that is U.S. made only, you can always check off that box. It'll only pull up United States made products. But let's go ahead and get to the product results real quick. I'm going to click Start Search and pull up some products for us. So here are the product results. A couple of quick things, just some simple things. This may be common to a lot of people, but they didn't realize. You do have different types of views. You have large tile, you have list view if you like it like this, medium tile, and then you can even do something like, for instance, going maybe a side-by-side or a detail if you want to do that option as well. Even on top of that, down here at the very bottom left where there's a supplier list, you can click on supplier list. It'll list all the suppliers that are pulling up products. So if you were to go ahead and just check off a couple of suppliers that you only want to see their products and do filter products, it will filter out all the different products from there. So you can see we're only seeing 134 out of the 321 product results. Keep that in mind, please, because sometimes it helps you narrow your search down even further. On top of that, a lot of customers didn't realize you can right-click on any item. We did change this a little bit, but now you can say you can remove all of a certain supplier's products from your search. You can remove all the products that are in a specific category, and you can even say, well, you know what, I only want to keep the products that are in a certain category. So if you are doing a product search and you have not selected a category before, this is an easy way to figure out what the category is you need to search for and how to separate it out. But let's click on that first item. You will notice that it's going to look the same screen it always has, product. Here's the supplier item number, and here's going to be that encrypted item number specifically for everybody's Sage account. It's always going to be different for everybody. And then down here below it, it's going to give you your price range, and then it's going to tell you what that price includes. Do not forget also that we have a database. We've pride ourselves on having the most accurate information in the database, but you'll see a verified by supplier to let you know that as of April 6th of 2017, this supplier has come in and said all of this information is correct. We do not verify the pricing, a supplier verifies the pricing. You will also know there are multiple product images now below each item. We're going to dive into this a little bit later, but I'm going to show you how you can use every single one of these images if you like inside of the presentation. So this is a new added feature. So if you're looking at, say, a shirt from Sanmar and they have 30 different colors, it would list all the different shirts and colors right there for you to be able to scroll through and see those images. So we did add additional images now for you to be able to view. With this additional tab up here for this item, do not forget we do have a shipping estimator that is in here. These are the standard published rates by the shipping carriers of FedEx, UPS, and the United States Postal Service. You can type in where you need this item to be shipped to, and it will give you those different price ranges here that you can see as well. If you do get discounts, you can actually set your shipping calculator to provide those pricing with the discount included. A new button up here is this Q&A button. This Q&A button is now going to be ask a question to the supplier. But the great thing about it is that not only can suppliers answer your question, if distributors have done business with this supplier before, they can actually come in and help answer questions as well. We got a lot of requests about kind of like discussion groups and other stuff. This is an easy way that you can get your questions answered. I mean, a lot of people would probably go, oh, I can ask about stock. That's not what this is for, because on the actual product tab, you can see where it says request inventory levels here. That way that you can get a quicker answer directly from the supplier specific to inventory levels. But if you have stuff about imprint questions and other stuff, it's a great way to ask a question and get a response, and it will notify you if the manufacturer is responding to you or if it is another distributor. I'm going to kind of breeze through the rest of this because it is all still the same with your supplier information, supplier contact information, your general information that's going to give you all the different types of information coming up. If you do see down here that says upcoming trade shows, if you know you're going to be going to a trade show, you can actually check this off here, and it will automatically add the supplier to your walk list if you use Sage Mobile at that trade show, so you know how to go find that supplier and to know that you wanted to contact them. The artwork tab is also a good resource because it tells you minimum DPI required when submitting art files, and even tells you what formats this manufacturer will accept. On top of that, we have the catalog index still, where you can go flip through the digital catalog if you want to. A sales tools tab that gives you different types of videos about the product. My product info tab, which is a huge one because you can actually edit and put how many samples you have on hand of products and then where that sample is located, to where when you are doing a product search in Sage, like if I were to do another simple product search, you can see down here that you can now actually search by samples on hand. So you can see and pull up, if you need to go see a customer, you're going to visit a customer, you can see what samples you have and where they're located to be able to offer those to the supplier. I'm sorry, to your customer, not the supplier. And then last but not least is the My Supplier Info tab. A lot of our distributors take advantage of this. This is where you can actually set up different preference groups to where if you have suppliers that are in those preference groups, when you're doing a product search, those preferred vendors you like will show up first. You can even come in here and edit the pricing in Sage of what shows up. So if you do get, say, in quantity pricing from this supplier, you can actually mark it to where when you go look at their products from now on, notice how the 116 goes all the way across, because you're going to get in quantity pricing, which will help you whenever you're using our quoting machine and everything else to be able to get you the best product to show up to basically get the most profit off of selling this. But we like this item. This is an item we're interested in. We're going to go ahead. You have two choices. You can either tag the product up here in the top right by clicking tagged, or when you're on the main screen, you can tag items by actually checking off the boxes up here. So that is a couple of options of being able to grab a hold of those. We will always keep the total number of items you've checked off and tagged up here in the top right. So if you are scrolling down a page of possible items and you lose track of how many you've clicked on, we will always go up here and tell you how many you have. That way that you understand, okay, I've checked 4 items, 5 items, or 6 items. Let's go ahead and click this Add Presentation button right here. This is going to open up a brand new presentation. That way that you can go ahead and pull up these products as well in the presentation.
Andy, I'm sorry to interrupt you. We have a question.
Yes?
Lisa Schaefer wants to know, is there a way to set your default search to automatically use the preferred vendor search when you first look up an item so that you don't have to remember to manually use that search filter?
Yes, so that was a great question. Up here, when you go to Tools and Options, it's going to open up a window. You can go to the Research button right here, and then this says your default sorting methods. So what you would do is if you have preferred vendors, you can come right here and select, I want to search my preference groups first. So from then on, every single time you do a search, it will pull up your preferred vendors. That way you don't have to sort through it and you don't have to go change anything. It will automatically do it from then on.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so let's go do another product search. So we have a couple of choices. We can either click the little coffee cup over here. I already have a search started. I'm going to go ahead and do another quick search. Notice how on this search, I'm not actually typing in a category. I'm going to leave the category blank. The reason I'm doing that is because I want to show you the feature now of what I was talking about before, to where once you find an item you like, I can click on this and then just say, keep only products in the bags category, because that is what I'm wanting, and it will remove all the other items that are not in the bags category. So when I go in here, I have 2 choices. You have a drag and drop option. If these are the items that you like, you can click on an item in your search results and just drag it up to your presentation tab. It will automatically upload that product to your presentation. You don't have to add it to a presentation. You can drag and drop. You still have the option of when you check off an actual product and click the Add Presentation option, you will notice you get 2 options. You can either create a brand new presentation for this item, or you can actually just go ahead and choose, and I want to add it to the presentation I already have open. That's meaning you can have multiple presentations, multiple product searches. Everything can be different to where you have multitasking going on. A lot of customers say, well, I need to do a presentation for 3 different clients. Well, you could have 3 different presentations going and being able to do product searches for all those presentations and select which one you want it to go into. But once we dive into this presentation, we're going to start with the introduction. For those of you who've been with us for a long time, you've been used to saving all your stuff to the Project Center. You still can save your presentations to the Project Center. We can just call this the, Northeast Golf Tournament, quote. And then you can go and click Select. It's going to pull up your Project Center like you've always done it, and you will be able to go choose the folder and everything that you want this to go into. That way that if you still like to be able to save your stuff in that different, you see all the folders, you can put it wherever you want, and you can choose the folders here from like clients to everything and go ahead and say, this is where I want it. We're going to go ahead and put this in Amanda's Promos one right now and click Select. That's now put in Amanda's Promos project folder. Here's where the CRM tool comes in. If you do not have the CRM tool uploaded yet, that's fine. My suggestion is whenever you're doing a presentation, click this New button right here and go ahead and fill in all the information of the client and then click Save. The reason for this is that not only is it going to save here and it's going to autofill all these boxes, the next time that you do a presentation, when you click Select Client, you will be able then to come in here and just select that client straight from this list. That way that you don't have to enter all their information again. On top of that, some of the features in our CRM tool are you are allowed to assign not only logos to these clients that you have in your CRM tool, you're also allowed to assign preferred pricing. I assume that some of you may have clients that you give a 5%, 10% discount off the catalog price, or you have a specific way that you quote them. You can set up every time you drop in a client into the presentation from the CRM tool that preferred pricing shows up already for that client, to where you don't have to worry about adjusting the pricing after that step. But let's say that you want to. When we go to this first item right here, you will notice it's the same item as always. And then once we go to the pricing button, you will notice that the cost of this is $187. The catalog price is $375.88. But look, the selling price is $338. So when I go to the adjust pricing like you've always done, you can see that this customer is already preset to get a 10% discount on pricing, and that's going to apply to every single product in the presentation. So you don't even have to do anything when it comes to adjust pricing. It's done. You can, though, adjust quantities to where if you did say, I only want to show the quantity for 12 or 25 or 30, you can select that in the adjust quantity options, apply to every item in the presentation. So then you're not having to go in and adjust quantities on every individual product. You can do it all right there. On top of that, with the additional charges button up here, we do have it now to where you can go ahead and check off all the different additional charges you may have for an item. For example, when I'm on this tote bag down here, notice how there's additional color run charges. So when I go in here and say, well, the customer's logo is going to have 2 additional colors on it, I can check off this additional color setup. Not only will it calculate the correct additional color run, it's also going to charge the correct additional color setup fees as well for these items. So it's just another easy way to make sure your customers are getting the accurate pricing once you do it. On top of that, when we're looking at these items, remember how I mentioned you could have all the different images? You may be able to see it on my screen, but maybe not. But when you're in your Sage, you'll notice there's actually 5 blank boxes down here. I can click on a blank box and say select product image down here, and it pulls up every single image that's available for this item. So I could seriously come in here and say, I want to go ahead and upload every single one, okay? So you're able now to have multiple images. On top of that, once you do a virtual on these images as well, let's say that you've selected blank items on here, what you're able to do then is, if you want to, when you go to add logo and stuff, you can choose them from the project center or from the URL or wherever you have them. But even else on top of that, yes, if you go into the Sage CRM tool, like I mentioned, you are able then to assign logos to each one of your clients. So when I jump into the Sage CRM tool, let's say I went to this Hilton one, there's a logos tab right here to where I can go add logos to them, to where when I'm doing a presentation and I'm doing the virtual design studio, that logo will automatically upload on the item for you in the virtual design studio, so you don't have to go find it or anything because you've attached it to that client. So it's another huge feature to have, to where if you do want to have multiple images with the customer's logo on it, you're able to do that, especially if you have the blank image already that's selected.
Andy?
Yes,
so
ma'am.
we have a few questions that have come in.
Okay.
Michael wants to know if these features that are being discussed, are they available only for PC, or are they available on Mac?
Sage Web does have a lot of these same features as well, depending on which ones you're looking at. Not all of them currently, but that's where by the end of the year they're hoping to have them equally match across the board. But yeah, this is just for the updates of 12.5, but some of these that I have been covering are in Sage Web as well.
Okay, excellent. Marcus wants to know, is he able to remove a supplier so that when he is searching or his client is searching, this undesired supplier or their products do not show up on the search?
Yes. When you are actually doing, say you went in here and you did a supplier search, let's say there was a certain supplier that you did not want to show up anymore. I'm going to pick a very popular one so I don't hurt anybody's feelings. So I just want to make sure. But when you do pull up a supplier, let's do supplier Canada, Sanmark Canada. When you go to My Supplier Info tab, you can come here and do exclude this product from product searches. Just check this box off. They will never show up in any of your product searches. So you have it that way. On the website as well, there you can also exclude suppliers on the back end of your website if you don't want them to show up as well. I can kind of get into that to a little bit later, but this is where you would do it on the Sage side of things.
Okay. Wonderful. Lisa wants to know, is the preferred vendors list stored company-wide? For instance, if one of our total access users adds a new vendor to that preferred list, will another total access user then get that vendor added to their search list?
Yes, it can be company-wide, and you can also block it off to where only a certain person in your company is allowed to even assign people to a preference group.
Okay. All right.
So you don't have someone random going in there and doing it.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, and two more. I'm sorry. I don't know if you want to
Very
hold
good.
those
Go ahead.
up or, okay. What about the setup charge, like 3 screen fees? Does that make sense?
So like when you select what additional charge you want and you choose the colors, like I'll show you on this item here in a second, this will go ahead and automatically know to multiply the additional color setup times 2. So it already knows to do the additional color setups multiplied. If it's a certain type of charge that's just a one-time charge and you need to do it, you can come up here and modify anything. So if you needed the screen charge rather than being $60, you wanted to make it $180, you could change the pricing that way and then check it off for it to show in the total.
Okay. And one last question. Lisa D did not see the click on the blank box to get the additional images. She says she just tried it with the leads items and it failed to get extra images.
So, well, yeah, not every single item has extra images, but most of them do. So like for instance, if we went to this real quick, so you'll be able to notice real quick, if I go in here and I just type in something, an item number that I'm very familiar with, we'll just go K500 that everybody knows about, and then we pull up this item, and then we go click on this shirt right here. If you see all these images on the product like this, these are the ones that are going to pull up in the presentation. So if you don't see any extra pictures down here, then yeah, they're not going to be in the presentation for you to add. But if I do select this one, and then I go click on this blank box, and then I click select product image down here, see how it pulls in every single color that you could possibly have, and then you can go, I want to select that one. It will populate these boxes as well.
Okay. All right, and that's the last one for now.
Okay. Okay. Perfect. So back to the presentation when we're doing all this closing. You can remember you can customize your presentation exactly how you want it. Header to where it shows up this way every single time, and then get to like options of how you want the options to show up. You can choose your fonts and colors of how you want to show up, and then item formatting. Item formatting is a huge tab that I hope that everybody uses, because you can come in here and check off every single different box of what you want to show the customer. That way, if you're the type of distributor that says, when I do a presentation, I want them to get every bit of information possible down to what the color includes and all of that, you're able to do that. Some other distributors are like, I don't want them to see all that information. I like to keep it simple. This is where you can come in and uncheck everything and you can literally have it something as simple as quantity, price, done, price includes. Okay, So you have these different options of what you can do when it comes to, and notice how there's multiple images showing up. This has been added since the last Sage update, but I just hope everybody has had a chance to use this, because this is something that we are one of the only companies that does this at all in any industry. We now have created what we call mobile responsive presentations. What I mean by that is that you can still send out the PDF version of this if you want to, but now you have the capability of being able to send your customer a direct link to this presentation. So when I go click email link, it's going to pull up my Outlook, and it's going to, it's going to pull up my Outlook, and it's going to have a presentation in here. It's also going to automatically autofill the email address you had for the client. So when you come in here and you click this presentation and this link, it now makes it to where it is a mobile responsive website, to where, let's say your customer opens this on an iPhone. If I shrink this to be the shape of an iPhone, it's going to change the shape of the presentation to fit the iPhone. It's also, if I say did an iPad, it's going to change the shape so it can fit an iPad. And then obviously if they're on any type of computer, it'll go full width screen of how it's going to fit on a computer. But here's the best part about all this. Every one of you should be logging in with a user ID and password that is specific to you, to where when you log into Sage, it knows who you are and it knows what email address is yours, to where the second that your customer clicks on this presentation, you can get an email notification letting you know that your customer has opened the presentation. On top of that, it does also now allow your customers the option to add comments and feedback on individual items inside the presentation as well. So if your customer did want to come in here and say, I like this, please send me an invoice for 12 of them, and clicks post, it's going to send you another email saying not only has your customer opened the presentation, your customer is responding back to that presentation you sent them. So when you go back to Sage Online, I'm going to close out this email. No, we don't need to send it. You're going to get little red circles over here on the presentation button. That's letting you know that there's actions happening to presentations, to where if I go to this presentations tab, you'll see here's the golf tournament. You can even see the status that someone has replied back to that on the presentation. There's 3 different types of statuses. There's draft, meaning you drafted it. There's viewed, meaning the customer clicked the link but didn't respond. And then there's responses where it says replied. So when you click on this presentation right here, it's going to open up the Northeast Golf one. You can go down to the feedback down here, option on the left, and you can see this is where they actually wrote a message for that item. To go see, let's say you had 20 items in this and you're trying to figure out which one it is, you can click these 3 little lines and say go to item, and it will take you directly to the item in the presentation that they were responding and looking at. So you can see, okay, this is what they want. You can even write them feedback if you want, saying, I will have you an invoice, if I learned how to spell, by the end of the day. And to either post it or post and email them again to let them know, to where when we go back to that presentation, they're going to click that same link they've always had to refresh their presentation. You can see it automatically puts a response right in there as well. Okay?
Yep.
The way that...
I'm sorry, Andy.
Yes?
Jennifer Cadis wants to know what presentation setting you were using when it showed the logo mat photo on the left and the description price on the right?
Oh, I was in, summary style, summary in the layout style.
Okay. All right. And Joe wants to know, in the link option, will you be linking to Google Mail in the future?
Well, you can copy the link and put it into Google Mail. This will only attach to whatever is an email client. If you're using Gmail or Hotmail, there's no way for a program to understand how to get into that access and use that as your default email browser. So you can always come into the share option and just copy this right here and then go paste it into whatever web-based email address you have. If you need to obviously save it or something, you can come down to export, and you can do as save as a file on your computer, and then it will save the PDF, and you can copy the link in there as well to be able to attach it to your web-based platform email. Okay. One thing I did want to show, we're going to get back to item formatting. I'm going to check off these pricing things again. I did want to show that just like I did for that one product in here, when you preview this, it will go ahead and for that bag where I did the 2 additional colors, it does tell them what all additional colors set up to. See how it's multiplying it by 2 times the additional color run charge. It's putting all the additional charges in here based on just me putting a little number 2 under the additional charges button and putting additional colors as 2. So the system automatically knows to add all the additional charges onto that item. So once you share this and everything else, you are good to go. These presentations are automatically saved. If this save button up here on the left is still blue, you can click it. It will save it, but it always prepares you and says, hey, you didn't save your presentation. You want to do that? Click yes. But on top of that, if you are using the Sage CRM tool, remember how I mentioned when you click on the customers that you dragged into the introduction, it will take you to this presentations button. It lists every single presentation that you've ever done for just that one customer. Think about that for a second. You can't even get responses when you send an email out. How do you even know your customer opens emails when you send them? So now with our presentations, not only are you going to be notified the second that your customer opens it, you're also going to be notified the second that your customer adds feedback, and then it automatically saves into the Sage CRM tool to where, let's say that you're at lunch or out of the office and this customer calls and says, hey, they just sent me a quote or a presentation. Your coworker, someone can go straight to their CRM name, click on presentations, and go pull up that presentation right there and see exactly what the customer is requesting. So I know we've done probably Post-it notes and Outlook reminders and everything else, but this is just an easy way to keep all information and all contacts within the same system to where it doesn't get confusing, especially if you have multiple people doing different job responsibilities in an office. But this is just one of those things. But this is the new Sage 12.5, especially with a lot of the new logos and everything else that you can do. Do always remember that we also do have email marketing down here. We do have order management to be able to place orders directly to suppliers. And then we have our trade show feature down here to where you can access who's going to be exhibiting at what trade shows. But this was just a nice overview of 12.5. I have about 12 minutes before I'm going to start taking more questions at the end, but obviously I can be interrupted anytime, and I wanted to kind of dive into our new websites that we just came out with. So let's go ahead and take a look. This is one of our brand new websites. All of our websites are mobile responsive, just like our presentations, meaning that you can shrink the size of them and they will change shapes to fit whatever device the customer may be looking on. The new look is this full width look to where we do have different designs. A couple of new things that we've come up with, especially depending on what products you get, either our premium websites, which are full custom, or just our basic website. You can have now custom pages on here to where you can create these. If I click on Meet the Team, you will be able to do a company directory if you wanted to, put different pictures of everybody and your clients and everything else as well. You do also have it now to where you can have the testimonials. We have a blog on here. We even have a pay my bill option to where your customers can actually come into the pay my bill option if you do subscribe to our Sage payment processing, and they can come in here and pay a bill as well. It's a huge feature that a lot of our customers ask for. And then we even have an art upload option in our premium websites to where this was a big feature customers requested. I need my customers to be able to send me artwork. Well, now you're able to come in here and be able to do the artwork upload. They can send you files and everything. Currently, there is no size restriction on the art upload. Now, if they try to send you a 2-hour-long movie, yeah, it's probably going to bog down their system as well as yours. I mean, if you try to send an email that's 50 megabytes, what happens? It just thinks and thinks and thinks and basically makes everybody's system crash. So there isn't a limit, but obviously it will, depending on how large the file is, slow down your system. If we get back to the home page, you are allowed to have custom images going across this. This customer actually created this image, and we put it on there for them that matches their logo at the top and brand name. You can also have multiple different layers going down here, either with images that you choose, text that you choose. You can have whatever type of custom pattern backgrounds you want on here if you're on the premium website. So if you had this custom color background, you can use that. You can also add featured videos. You can have your featured blog, your testimonials. Here's another kind of custom background in this section. And you're able to manipulate the size and the width of these things show up. So as you can see on this one, this video is huge. You have the blogs and everything on this size. But if we actually go look at another view real quick of what the websites can look like, yes, it still will be full width, but at the same time, notice how now on this one the video is smaller. It's 1/3 of the side with the blogs and then with the testimonials on the other side, and then another custom image scrolling across. We did add now price range into the quick search onto the website, so if someone types in they're looking for yellow mugs, they can type in what price range they're looking for as well. And then you have the newsletter now that we've added to where you can add first and last name, company, phone, and rather than just being the simple email address, you can add all this into there as well, that you can capture that information. And then Enjoy Your Branding has a custom pattern background on the back as well that you can add to our premium websites. So I just kind of wanted to show these now of what you can do. On top of that, you are able to still have the same type of product search capabilities like you've always had, but we can make these at Sage have any type of website that you want. And what I mean by that is, let's say that your primary business is something else other than promotional. You can create your website to be more specific to that and then have a simple shop button as to get to the promotional side of things, but everything could be about printing or embroidery or whatever else your main focus is, especially with those custom images on the home page, and then you can make it to where you can sprinkle in your promotional. On top of this, a couple of things. This is more of kind of an advanced technology issue about this, but you will now notice when you click on any item of our website, our websites are called flat now. They have the flat capability to where if you look at this URL at the top, this URL is specific to this bag, which is huge for search engine optimization because now every single website of Sage has a page for every single item. So if I click on this bag, this URL is completely different and specific to this item, to where if I went to say another item under the golf category and I clicked on it, it's going to change the URL and make it specific to this one item that's in the golf category. Notice how this is now golf in a bag set with its specific item number and everything, so that's helping you out with your search engine. On top of that, you will see there are multiple images that now do show up on the website that your customers can click on, and it will change it up there. So if we are looking at a SanMar where there's multiple shirt images, they can click on the multiple images and upload them up on the website. On top of that, we also now have an order matrix on our system to where if I come in here and say, I need 10 of these, but I need 10 with the yellow bag, an additional color, and everything, I can then go down here and say, well, now I need 25 of the white ball marker, and then I can go down even further and I can add a different one. It will even cut off your customers to let them know if I tried to place an order since this minimum is 80 and these didn't add up to the minimum, it would say you still need to add more quantity because you're not reaching the minimum required by this supplier. So you are able then to go and do that. We do have add to cart, request info, request quote still, but the request info option, we actually added a new way. You can have a quick one where you just type in name of who you are, email, and what you're looking at. And then we also have a larger one where you can just do something where it fills out a lot more information for the request info. Request quote and add to cart still work exactly the same. We do have the share option, so if you do want to send these to to social media, you're able to share these to all social media that is out there. And then on top of that, your customer now has the opportunity, which they've had, to go create a virtual sample. Just like you can in Sage, they can add their logo and everything into this. One question that has popped up before is they're like, well, if my customer uploads the logo here, can they just send the cards and I already get the image with the logo on it? The answer is no, and it's a good reason it is no, because if you have to go in here, the supplier's not going to want the image already on the product when you're trying to order it, because then they're going to have to take it off, plus it can mess with the clarity and everything else. So when they do come into this and they add to cart or however they proceed, they still will be required to come down here and add their art file right here as well, plus all the different information to be able to order this on top of it. But with this now, yes, you do have all the same SPC codes as well. The one question that got asked a little bit earlier, I'm going to dive in just real quick to the back end of my website. When you are on the back end of the website, you do have the capability to where when you come into e-commerce and you go to search restrictions, you are then able to come down to the back end and you are able to exclude any suppliers you want. So if you were to find a supplier, by the way, this does have a text message, so I typed in SAN, it scrolled down to this. I can exclude this person over here, and then you can also go in and you can include them back if you want to. So you have the option in here to remove suppliers on the back end. On top of that, you also have options to remove categories. I've known of certain distributors are like, I do not want to sell pins on my website. Well, you can exclude that. You can even have suppliers that want to exclude all the apparel. So what they need to do is they need to go into all the different apparel like shirts, shorts, jackets, and all this other type of stuff. That will go ahead and remove all those different types of categories from the back end of your website. You also have some quick features as well. So if you go to the promo search settings on the back end of your website, a lot of our customers will be able to go into this search filters box. You can then choose different types of check marks. You can even do stuff where it says, I only want suppliers to show up on my Sage website with, say, an A or better rating. These are some other options that you can do quickly to determine what shows up on the Sage website as well. So now with all the testimonials, news and events, the blog, which is new, and the unlimited custom pages that you can have on the new premium websites, we do have design services. All of the back end of our websites, as you'll notice, they are a WordPress type of look. You don't have to write in any code if you don't want to, but if you're not a web developer or you just don't have the time, more likely, you can pay us and we will come in and just make changes to your website and add any images or notes or quotes or whatever you would like to your website as well, at a very, very, very low price compared to what you would go pay a web developer that's outside of this industry. So again, with all this, you do have the cart system, you do have the client login if you want to allow that, but anything you have on the Sage website that you want to take off, you are more than happy to do it. It is your website, your brand. You can customize this any way you want. but this is the brand new Sage websites that we just came out with. They were a huge success, especially early in the year at PPAI Expo. But if you have any questions, do not hesitate to give your rep a call and say, I'd like to learn more about the premium websites that you guys offer. And that's pretty much it. Hopefully I didn't lose too many people, but is there any more questions or something that I could cover?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's quite a few questions actually. You definitely didn't lose
Okay.
anyone. Greg wants to know, would it be fair to say that creating any type of order should start in the presentation section? The reason I see this as an advantage is the additional charges field are nowhere as user-friendly in the purchase order entry field.
So he asked, the first question is, do you start off with the presentation first? I always think people that do presentations first are usually quoting their customers and giving ideas. The one thing from the presentation is you can go in here and you can create an order form right off of any item in the presentation. So if you wanted to create a purchase order right off of this item, you could do that by right-clicking on the item in the presentation and choosing the form, and then just typing in the quantity that you need, and then going down here and selecting the charges that need to be applied to this, and then clicking save, and then that'll automatically fill in the supplier information to where you can send that right off and able to upload the artwork simply and everything else. The second question, I don't really understand. I guess we can kind of do a one-off if we need to about the additional charges. If we need to go through of how to fill this in or how it work better, I guess. But it should fill in all the different ones for the different customers of what they have and what the supplier provides, because it should just be as easy as checking off a box of what the charges need to be and then plugging in however many additional colors need to be a part of it, and it will calculate that already into the presentation.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Lisa Dean was having some issues in making her logo bigger in the header.
Okay.
Can you show her how to achieve that?
So the header up here, you have, this is where you upload your logo. It tells you what the suggested pixel size should be, 1200 by 300, but you also have the option over here to say how large you want your logo. So if I want a large logo, I can just select large logo size and it will make it larger. Now granted, if you're trying to do this on, say, the link that you're sharing, well, these are mobile responsive websites, so it is going to basically make your logo a certain size. Otherwise, if it's too big, it messes with it being able to change shapes and sizes when a customer's looking at that presentation, say on an iPhone or a smaller type of device. Same thing goes for our websites. I mean, you can upload a huge file in here if you want to, and you can always just call into our support department, and they can look at this as well to see if they can help you get your logo larger and what size it needs to be in. But this is where you would be able to change it exactly what size you want to show up. So this may be on small for you and you need to make it to large, but if it is on large, we just need to get your logo into a larger pixel size and it'll show up bigger.
Thank you. Benjamin Klein, he wants to know, they would love to have a payment processing through Sage. However, in the past, the payment processing was limited to a pre-selected processor that charged more than our current credit card processor. Is payment processing through Sage available through any pre-approved credit card processing companies so we can choose our own processor?
So we're looking into other ways of getting more people to be able to do payment processing. We don't actually do payment processing at all at Sage. What we do is we tie into the company currently called Merchant Focus. Merchant Focus has their own rates and everything else of what they come up with, their monthly fees, their charges, and everything based on their pricing. I do have a contact with Merchant Focus if you want to. You can come down here and go through all these FAQs and then how to get started if you want to. But they're the ones who are coming up with this actual pricing, fees, and everything else like that. And you can give them a call right here, this 800-895-4085. The ladies extended extension is 15. That's for Sherry Friley. She's our main point of contact with Sage. She can answer any of your questions that you need, but we are looking into eventually getting more companies out there. I mean, there's hundreds of payment processing companies out there, but we're trying to figure out a way to make it to where it's not just merchant focused, where we can add in more later. When that exactly going to be, I don't have a time frame on that. I'm sorry.
Thank you. Michael Kaufman wants to know if there is a request sample option.
You can do, there's not a request sample specifically, but you can click any of those other buttons that you can leave notes on and ask for a sample. So if you're on an actual item itself where it says request quote or request info, you could say right here, I would like a sample of this, and put the name, email, phone, and everything right there. And they're going to send request. He's going to be notified they want a sample.
Great. Amanda wants to know, in the product search page, the new version no longer has a box to put in a specific supplier. How do I search using a specific supplier now?
We do. At the beginning, it's the same thing. If you look right here, I covered this a little earlier, you can click the plus sign right here, and you can just say, I want to search for Sanmar's products. It's only going to search for Sanmar's products. So you just got to click the plus sign right here, and then you can add in whoever you want to add in to be able to search their products. See how it's just still adding like it used to? It's just a plus sign right here right now.
Okay. Zach O'Brien has a couple of questions. He wants to know if you can set up suppliers here on the website for just your preferred suppliers.
Yes. So when I was in Sage, remember, it was under that same button under promo search where you were doing the settings. You will notice under search filters, you can make it to where suppliers only in the preference groups. You can select your preference group right there. It would only pull up the suppliers in your preference groups on your website.
Easy. Oh, awesome. He also wants to know who hosts the web page.
We do.
Get one. We do.
We do. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Wendy Ferber, how long does it take for someone to respond in Q&A tab and request inventory tab?
Different suppliers are different times. We even have some suppliers that the request inventory button doesn't even say request inventory. It'll just say inventory because they have their backend connected directly to Sage. So this would actually, you could click on it, it would automatically tell you the inventory. Certain suppliers, good suppliers, will respond to you within the hour, mostly same day. Other suppliers, there's no telling. It's up to them, honestly. They're getting notified. So if you ever do click on something, request inventory, and they're not responding to you, please let us know at Sage so we can reach out to them and tell them, hey, this is a huge feature. You need to respond. Otherwise, these distributors are going to go to your competition if you're not letting them know you have something in inventory they'd like to order from you.
Cool. A couple of questions about PayPal. What about client paying invoice through website to PayPal?
That's one of the things we're looking into. Currently, it's just connected to Merchant Focus, but that's one of the other companies as well that we're looking into.
All right.
You can set up PayPal as an option to check out when you're doing on the website. So when your customers are checking out on the website, they can't do that pay invoice up there. But when you do checkout settings on the website, you can come down here and add an option for them to put in a PayPal account or whatever, and they're able then to pay in that format.
Great. Jennifer Cadis wants to know, in the Premium website, can the distributor modify the product description so they are using their own text to describe it? Can the distributor rename the product? Similarly, can a distributor delete or replace the product photo with their own photo of the product?
In the premium website with the unlimited custom pages, you can put whatever item up here you want with whatever description and pricing. You can take a picture of the clock on your desk and sell it on your Sage website if you have this premium website. So the answer is yes. You can go change descriptions, item numbers, pictures, whatever. You can even password protect it to where only certain clients of yours are able to view those products as well.
Okay. Also, we want to know what is the cost for the premium website?
Currently, right now, the cost of the premium website is $7.90. Well, hold on, you're SAGNY. If you have SAGNY, the discounted rate for that is 10%. $715.50.
All right. Let's do that. What else? I think Greg wants is suggesting for you to mention the change view search availability, which he thinks is a very nice feature.
I'm sorry, could you repeat that? I'm a little confused with that question. I'm sorry.
No, Greg wants to, thinks that it's a good thing for you to mention the change view search availability.
Oh, okay. So when you are on Sage, we did have some distributors that like to make their view a little bit easier. They don't like all this input boxes. We do have a different way, and thank you for reminding me. You can change the view now to where you click change view in the top right. It pulls up this way of being able to input information, more like kind of like Sage Web, or you can even be even smaller and say, what are you looking for? And you can type in doormats, and you do search. It's going to know that's what you're looking for, and you can go search for doormats. And it knows to autofill it, and doormats will show up for you, just like you did before. So you do have the different ways of being able to do it. Now, some people will, if you change the view, remember you got to click it back if you ever want to get back to the big one. But see how that just filled in doormats and knew to put that in the keywords and that in the category.
Mm-hmm. That makes it easy. One last question that I have here. Can you import list of suppliers?
Can you import suppliers?
Yeah, import a list of suppliers.
No, you can't import a list of suppliers. The only way that you can get a supplier that's outside of the Sage database, if you are doing, say, an order form in Sage and you're needing to send this to, say, a decorator or someone outside of Sage, you can click the new button over here next to supplier information, go add them into Sage. That way that you can save it there and be able to send order forms. Now, you're not able to upload them into Sage and be able to search products by them, but you are able to add them to order forms if you need to.
Okay. All right, and I think those are all the questions. I don't know if anyone else has questions at the moment, but that was the last one.
Okay. If you do, if you think of something later as questions, you can always call our toll-free number at 800-925-7243. Ask for the operator to send you to either support or distributor sales. Obviously, if you know your account rep, give them a call. And that number again is 800-925-7243.
Excellent. Thank you, Andy. I just wanted to let everyone know this session included a lot of information. We have recorded the session. It will be uploaded to our YouTube channel. A link will go out in tomorrow's email with giving you access to this recording. If you guys have any questions, please do not hesitate to contact me or the number that Andy provided you with any Sage questions. Okay, Andy, thank you so much for joining us today and for showing us the new features. And I want to thank everyone else for joining us during your lunch.
Perfect. Thank you all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, and everyone have a wonderful afternoon. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.